Good morning, Pastor Robles. Today we're going to talk about home. So one common theme I've noticed in talking with the people that we'll speak with this week is that everyone who loves Paso Robles loves it not because of the beautiful area or how close we are to the beach or the magnificent oak trees or anything like that. It's the people. It's the community. And so we're going to meet some people that make Paso Robles what it is. I'm really excited to show you what we have today.
Hi everybody, my name is Norma Moye. I'm the Executive Director of the Paso Robles Downtown Main Street Association. I want to share with you one of my favorite quotes. I have many, but I always think this is a good one. It's over here.
That's a great quote, Mrs. Moye. Why do you like it?
Because it says a lot. It says the truth. Boy, thinking back, I remember in 1988 when I came into this job, this town, you could have shot a cannon down the street. You wouldn't have hit anybody. And now I'm looking out, it looks like the same thing is going on. But you know what? I didn't give up then because I knew we were going to come out of it okay. And we're going to come out of this okay too. But don't lose your hope. I know my parents or my father left Italy in 1922 when Mussolini took over that country. He left because he didn't like Mussolini telling him what to do. And he came to America where there was freedom. And we don't want to lose that freedom. Don't ever forget how powerful a mind is and an attitude. Because I had a daughter that passed away, but she had a tumor in the back of her neck. She had it operated on, lived for 10 more years. She wasn't expected to. And she was paralyzed on one side, but she never gave up. And she taught aerobics and helped a lot of people. So that's what you got to remember. Don't ever give up on anything, because not everything's possible that you can think of. Keep a positive attitude as much as possible. And I know that's difficult when there's disasters around you, but keep that faith, because that faith does move mountains, believe me. Had I known I was going to live this long, I probably would have taken better care of myself. But as I'm going along, I'm learning. I feel very lucky to be this old. But you got to watch your health. Eat the right food. Right now, you probably don't care. You'll eat anything and everything. But believe me, it all catches up. Stay healthy. Stay wise. Steady. Read all you can. Learn all you can about life and people. You should learn about your history, the true history. Know that they're not lying to you and that this is what really happened. Because you're going to head for a wonderful life, and you have to know that and believe that. Keep your faith. As I said before, faith moves mountains, and you got to have faith in yourself. Love you. Bye.
So it's my extreme pleasure to speak with Frank Meacham today. Frank Meacham was mayor of Paso Robles, and he was county supervisor. He's a veteran, and I'm really excited to meet with him today and very honored. Thank you for joining us today, Mr. Meacham.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Could you tell us about what brought you to Paso Robles?
Came to Paso Robles in 1954. My dad became the fire chief out at Fort Hunter Liggett. And so we moved. We took a big move from Santa Margarita to Paso Robles.
Could you talk to me about growing up in Paso Robles, what that was like?
Oh boy, it was, looking back, I mean, it's growing up in a small town, everybody knows everybody, so you can't get away with much. And I grew up with folks that we'd go play pick up baseball or pick up flag football or tackle football. We'd play all the way up until dark. And the parents never said anything at all other than be home by dark. But you always had a job to do too. And I started working when I was about 9 or 10 years old. And so some of the folks that I grew up with were guys like Bud Muir, Don Parrish, and Parrish family, and Greg Welch. There were so many of them, and a lot of them we all played ball together, and then went our separate ways.
You came back too, so what brought you back to Paso Robles?
I came back to Paso. I got out of the Navy in 1970. I was a gunner's mate guided missile tech, and I decided to come home and not to re-up in the Navy.
Did you always know you'd go into public service, or how did that idea come into your mind to be mayor and to be supervisor?
I never did think about the public service too much, other than I was always interested in youth sports. So, matter of fact, there were 3 other guys and I that started youth football in town here, and I always loved baseball. So I coached youth baseball, and I got on the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board at one point, and I think Greg and I were on there together. I don't remember how many years I served doing that. And then, as I was mentioning to John, I had no desire to get into politics, but I had a lady call me, and she said, "Frank, I think you should run for city council." And I said, "I don't want to do that." And she said, "Well, I think you should, because you know the city. I think you're a visionary, and I think you have a lot of good ideas." And I said, "No, I don't want to do this." So that was the end of the conversation. Then she called again. "Have you given it any more thought?" And I said, "No, I don't want to do it." Okay. The third time she called, I picked up my answering machine when I got home from work, and it said, "Okay, you know the right thing to do, and I'm not going to call you again." So I did. I ran, and I did not win the first time, and went on the planning commission. And then from the planning commission, I ran for city council. And then 2 years later, they wanted to elect a mayor, and I was honored to be the first.
What are some of the things that stand out as being the biggest changes from, say, the 50s to now?
Oh, gosh. Well, I can remember 1963 standing on the corner of 13th and Spring Street, and we saw the Hot Springs Hotel was burning down. And that same night, we had a CIF football game with Buenaventura. And that same day, President John F. Kennedy was assassinated in Dallas. It was a very, very mixed and emotional day for a lot of us. We went ahead and played ball that night and had no after-game activities. It was a pretty somber evening. But then some of the buildings that were there, they're no longer there. But as I got into the political field, and I was really honored and fortunate to be there during my time as mayor, when you saw the new public facilities that went in, the Emergency Operations Center that houses the police and fire, new senior center, new veteran center, Barney Swartz Park, the widening of 2 bridges, Dallins Drive, all of that was done in a short period of time. And I think the success of that was because the people of Paso, they said, "We want these things, but you have to be accountable to it." So I knew that we had to get them done in a certain amount of time and stay on budget and fulfill the promises that we made. And we did. And you see a lot of that now today.
What are your feelings of comparing old versus new Paso Robles?
You can't go backwards. You got to keep going forward. And so I think that a lot of the things that we've seen have had a positive effect on Paso Robles. I know growing up here, when I first came here, there were 3 wineries. You had Rada, Pizzeni, York Mountain, and now there must be 300 and some wineries. So the whole situation has changed. It used to be almonds, and now it's the wine industry.
What would it look like for us to bring in the kind of industry that would be required to have, say, my children stay here and be able to provide for themselves?
Well, one of the things that I discovered when I was mayor, I had an opportunity I started something where it was kind of a once a week visit with businesses. And so I'd call up some of the big businesses and I'd say, "I'd like to bring a couple of city staff out with me, and we want to hear your issues here. What can we do to help you and help your business?" And that really paid big dividends, because what we found out, and I also took somebody from the school district, was that they could hire some kids during the summer. They needed to know where to go to get that done and how to make that happen. So we made the tie together there. At first they thought we were there to maybe look at something or permit wise. But I said, no, we're trying to figure out how to help you. And so by that, I saw businesses out here that I didn't know existed. There's some technology businesses here. There's some industrial businesses here that I didn't even know were here that provide a tremendous amount of opportunity for our young folks. And I think one of the big benefits to the high school program is the Skills USA program. I think that is an outstanding program.
What advice would you give to the leaders that are coming up about what direction to take our area?
One of the biggest challenges I believe that they're going to be confronted with is finance. With this downturn in the economy that we're seeing due to this pandemic, I don't know how that's going to play out in terms of the budget constraints that they'll have. So they're going to have to take things slowly and try to figure out how to manage that the best they can. Having said that, I said, once things open again, I think you're going to see Paso blossom again. I think it's going to do well. It's well positioned for that. And I've always believed that you look at where it was best last and it'll be best first. And I think that happened during the earthquake. We were doing really well. We had an earthquake. We came back strong. And so I think we'll do the same thing here.
So what would you tell folks in Paso Robles, today about opening back the economy?
Well, I hope we open it soon. I do believe that there's a lot of folks are hurting through this much more than we probably recognize. I mean, I'm sure some of the guys do recognize this. Folks recognize it, but there's a lot of people out there that they're struggling to make it through all of it. But there's something that I've always told my kids. There's two things that you always want to have. You want to have hope and you want to have purpose. And you always want to wake up with that. If you don't have either one of those, you have nothing. So I think we have hope, knowing that this will end. And then we all have a purpose. We have a job. We have things that we're going to be doing. We're going to be trying to help the community. And if there's any one thing that I think people could do one nice thing for somebody every day. I don't care what it is. Open the door for somebody. Help somebody load their groceries in the car. Whatever it takes. Say hello, smile, whatever you got to do. That's contagious. And I think that generates a lot more. That's the pride. That's that Bearcat pride that I think that needs to be right to the top.
Do you feel like that pioneer spirit's alive and well, or is that a thing of the past, or do you think we've got enough people to sort of have a new chapter with pioneer spirits like that?
No, I think that it's still alive. And I think you see that, especially at Pioneer Day. A lot of folks didn't even know what that was about. But then when they look into it a little bit more, they hear a little bit more about it, they read a little bit more about it, they find out why it started. And it's been a tradition. I wrote an article on it one time and I said, that's our Thanksgiving. It's when we thank the farmers and the ranchers for everything that they've done. And it's been a great opportunity for a lot of folks to kind of come together.
I'm so glad to talk with you today, Mr. Meacham. I just feel honored to see you walking downtown from time to time, and thank you so much for your service, and thank you so much for talking with us today.
Sure. There's just so much more to talk about, but thank you.
So every graduating class likes to think that they're going to go out and change the world. I know when I graduated from high school, I had things I was going to do and I was going to change the world. And you find as you get older, sometimes you don't have the opportunity to make as much change as you wanted to. Well, as difficult as this is for seniors this year, this gives you the opportunity to change the world. Because when we're past this, there are going to be things to do and ways to do them that never existed before. And so your graduating class, your senior class has this assignment. Go out and change the world. Nobody's ever had a bigger chance to do that, at least not for a long, long time. And we're counting on you to do that, and we know that you can. So it's kind of a bummer to be a senior in the year 2020, but you're going to look back with some of the greatest stories anybody's ever had. And again, you've got the greatest advantage to make positive change in the world of any generation for many, many years. Good luck.
So every week I make my students check in with 3 of their classmates to see how they're doing. And so I'm going to give everybody that's watching this a homework assignment also. Check in with 3 people that you love and tell them that you love them. And if they're in your family, give them a hug and tell them that you love them. Thanks, everybody. We have lots of exciting bits for you over the next several weeks. Supervisor Pashong has words of encouragement for our class of 2020. We pay a visit to the Fritchleys and the Jacksons of Melody Ranch. And we check in with Mr. Steve Kaler, the inventor of the modern Bearcat and an internationally recognized and celebrated artist. So long.